Is Wagner back on the offensive in Bakhmut? Is Russia re-engineering its goals in Ukraine to make winning look more possible? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. It's March 19th, 2023. This is your daily Ukraine update. Let's get into it. Okay, first, when we look at the control map, there are two major changes. Well, notable changes, I should say. The first, as you can see, is some advances by Russian troops in the south of Bakhmut. This looks like it's taking place over half a city block and completing the capture of 2 city blocks here. So not exactly a huge effect, but a sign that the 2-day reconstitution of Wagner forces is probably at an end and they are now resuming their efforts to piecemeal seize Bakhmut. And then in the south here, you can see a small advance over some pretty low stakes territory, just a wooded area here. But a sign that Russian forces are trying to advance their southern prong, increase the amount of pressure again on Chasiv Yar and Ivansky. When we look over to the combat map, what I think is interesting is across the front line, you're seeing just 83 attacks by Russian aligned forces, concentrated in Bakhmut in the north here and outside of Avdiivka. So you can see that there is really Russia is finally appears to be beginning to internalize their economy of force, where they are directing their forces in the service of specific operational objectives. This is again a junior officer level of tactical awareness by NATO standards, but seeing Russia finally implement it is probably why we're seeing them make reasonable gains in Bakhmut. But here's the thing, reasonable gains in Bakhmut, not really enough to win this conflict. And when we look over at the UK Ministry of Defense, they actually point out something really interesting, is that Zaporizhzhia is one of 4 oblasts that Putin has claimed to have annexed into the Russian Federation in September. The problem is that, of course, Zaporizhzhia, their capital city is Zaporizhzhia. And as you guys can see, it's located 35 kilometers from the front line. It's a long distance, not really under any substantial threat of rush from Russian ground forces. So how do you have a province without a capital city? Well, for a while, Russia just didn't say anything in the hopes that they would advance and capture Zaporizhzhia's city proper. However, they have actually declared that Melitopol is the oblast capital. Surprise, surprise. And this has been accompanied by a state visit from Putin. But the fascinating thing to me is that, again, this is concurrent with the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson reiterating yesterday that the Kremlin still has its maximalist goals. It's ready to hear proposals. Oh, okay. Well, it's always ready to hear a proposal. For diplomatic settlement, but that they still maintain their, they want recognition of, quote, new territorial realities, the demilitarization, and I don't think I can even say that on YouTube, but the extremification of Ukraine, which is so subjective, it means nothing. And this is, of course, repeating Putin's talking points from last year. Right. I love how you can invade a country and then be like, well, the West just needs to recognize these territorial realities. And it's like, they weren't realities until you invaded them, So this is classic Russian mis and disinformation. No real surprises here from Russian forces. But nonetheless, guys, I'm sure you guys know, I was canceled on Patreon. Patreon decided that, of course, war content and reporting on the war is now a no-no. Classic big tech move. But that's okay. I have launched my own site with not only all of my YouTube videos right here, Combat Vet News, but also a members only area with all of my uncensored combat video breakdowns. These are the ones that YouTube won't let me show you. They're GoPros of trench clearing, hostage rescues, the drone footage of a combined arms assault. It's really, really some of the best content, and it's some of the best insight we get into the combat itself. Plus, your support allows me to continue to do this, despite the fact that some of the big tech and powers that be seem to have decided that Ukraine conflict news is no longer favored by the platform. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. The link is in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one.